Welcome back to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast, brought to you by Violet Defense. Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement existing products, or if you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of their technology for your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and the experience you need. Thanks again to Violet Defense for sponsoring the Educational AD Podcast, and go to their website at www.violetdefense.com for more information. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive. I've told you before that we actually have a Sideline Interactive video score table in our gym, and it is fantastic. You really need to check it out. It's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic department these days, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year while creating excitement in the gym and the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo to see what their tables and boards can do for you and their other fantastic products. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. Wall of Fame by Vital Signs has a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They provide a variety of interactive touchscreen options and an extensive library of templates to make it easier than ever to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. For ideas on how to showcase your school's diverse history, along with your proudest moments, visit www.vitalsignswalloffame.com or learn more and get started with your own digital Wall of Fame tribute. Call them at 614-981-3589 or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack for sponsoring the AD Toolbox portion of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your athletic program. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack also gives the 95% of the players and the parents who love your program a voice and help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then call them at 1-800-738-6466 or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to thank our good friends at Varsity Brands, including BSN, Varsity Spirit, and Herc Jones, along with Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing, for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're staying right here in Florida, and we're talking with a good friend, Ira Childress. Ira is a certified athletic administrator, and he's the director of athletics at Gulliver Prep in Miami, Florida. Also very active at the national level, serving on committees, and I think we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary. He's the co-founder of the National AD Resource Network with Amanda Waters. Ira, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate you having me.
Well, we've been looking forward to this for a while. Glad you were able to give us some time. So I know it's a busy time for athletic directors. For our listeners, we're recording this October 4th. So you're going to be listening to it fairly timely. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you went to school and college, and how your path led you to your current position at Gulliver.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan. I went to Baldwin High School, and really that's where I really found the passion for athletics. I was a four-sport athlete, competing in track, baseball, basketball, and football. I enjoyed them all. Had a great passion for football and also basketball as well. Those two were probably my two favorites, even though I did love baseball. So now I'm kind of going back and saying I love them all, like I just said a few minutes ago. but I enjoyed it, and just getting a chance to play at a high level in high school. We had a great run. Our team was ranked #1 in the state in basketball. We made a great playoff run in football, and being first team to host a home playoff game. We didn't have a lot of football tradition at my high school, but we did go 8-2 my senior year. We had outstanding baseball team as well. I was a starting center fielder for there and leadoff hitter. And then I track team, went to state in track and 100 meters and long jump. So just an outstanding athletic career. And I was also one of the leaders on our quiz bowl team. So just well-rounded there at Baldwin High, and it really prepared me for the next level. So that's where I really got my passion and really started to hone my skills on the athletic field, in the classroom, and then also in the community. Then went on to Ferris State University, where I ended up playing college football with a student athlete there, and had an opportunity there to really get involved on campus and do some really neat things there, and really start my career. I was able to get an internship after I graduated from undergrad in our alumni and development office, and really learn the ins and outs of raising money and working with alums across the country at my alma mater at Ferris State University. Then went to grad school and got my graduate degree in education leadership. And then after that, I was offered a full-time opportunity at Ferris State to work in development and alumni relations. And I spent 5 years doing that. And really, it was great because I was able to be a student athlete there. We won a football championship. And then I was able to get my my master's degree there. And then after that, I was able to work for the university for 5 years. So it was a great run there at Ferris State University.
I always love listening to the stories, and I just marvel at the number of guests that we've had that are in athletic administration that had that multi-sport experience. Of course, we have peers and good friends that they just did one sport in high school, but I've really found that multi-sport experience is a very common factor with athletic directors. I know you had some great success at the college level. Tell our listeners a little bit how you made that jump from working at the collegiate athletic experience to becoming a high school. And I know at Gulliver, you guys are K through 12, that middle school, public school, or excuse me, educational athletic setting position. How did that happen?
Yeah, so at Ferris State, I had an opportunity to, like I said, work there for 5 years. And then after I did that, I got a call from a search firm that really led me to an interview with the NCAA national office. And basically, they liked the things that I was doing at Ferris State with our athletic department, even though I was in development and alumni relations as well. And once I got that call to the NCAA, I had a chance to work in college athletics on a national level. Spent 4 years there at the NCAA, working in student athlete development, working with coaches and student athletes around the country on all the ancillary things that it takes to be successful in athletics, other than X's and O's. We're talking about soft skills, talking about leadership, being able to be an effective leader, public speaking, working with coaches on that, working with student athletes on really understanding how to manage and build their brand, how to be successful off the field, talked about job interviews and utilizing some of the skills they learn in their sport to transition over into life. So just all those things in the student athlete leadership space. I had a chance to do that at the NCAA, and that was really, really good, and enjoyed that. And then I had an opportunity to move back to my home state in Michigan. I was living in Indianapolis to be the athletic director at Okemos High School. And I had a friend of mine, he said, hey, listen, you're doing some great things, because I had a consulting company as well. You're doing some great things with your consulting company. You did some great things at the NCAA. I think you'd be great in high school athletics as an athletic director. And I had spent a lot of time in athletics, but not in high school. Most of my experience was in college. So, but he was saying that a lot of the skills are transferable and a lot of them are the same, which he was right about that. So the Okemos opportunity came open, and Okemos High School is a public school, but it's one of the best public schools in the state of Michigan, and really has a strong academic program, strong athletic program. And I was able to get on the ground floor there and do some really cool things with a lot of neat people. And we had a lot of success there at Okemos High School on a 6-year run. After my 6 years as athletic director there, I got a call from another search firm about an opportunity down here at Miami Gulliver Prep. I had a similar opportunity in Los Angeles and one in Chicago all at the same time. So ended up choosing Gulliver, and this is my 3rd year here. So it's been, it's hard to believe, but I've been AD almost 9 years. It's going to be next year, will be year 10. So it's been a great journey and a great ride, and to be able to spend this much time, 15 years total in athletics is absolutely amazing.
Oh, no, absolutely. And it's been great to kind of watch you grow in that position. As you know, I was down there at Palmer Trinity, one of your neighbor schools, for a number of years before you got there, but I still have contacts down there, and you've just done some great things with the Gulliver program. For our listeners, we're visiting with Ira Childress, Certified Athletic Administrator. We're going to be back with some more from Ira, but first, let's go and take a break and hear from one of our podcast sponsors, Sideline Interactive. We want to thank Sideline Interactive for being a sponsor of the podcast. As I've told you before, we actually have a Sideline Interactive video score table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. You really need to check these products out. It's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic program these days, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year while creating excitement in the gym and the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo to see their tables and boards in action and see what these fantastic products can do for you. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. Check them out. We're back with Ira Childress, Certified Athletic Administrator and the Director of Athletics at Gulliver Prep in Miami, Florida. Coach, we always like to ask our athletic directors about the mentors in your life. Who helped to get you where you're at? We didn't get here by ourselves. So who is that person or persons that helped you achieve what you've been able to do so far in your career?
Yeah, I would start first and foremost with my mother. She's been my greatest mentor, inspiration that a person can have in life. She really did an outstanding job in every aspect. And really, we grew up in tough circumstances, but she really got me to dream outside my surroundings. And that was something that was very important to her because she wanted me to know that, hey, you know what, there's more to life than what you're seeing right here. But if you work for it and stay focused, you can really get there. So I will give her a lot of credit. I wrote a book, a year ago, and she was instrumental in inspiration for me writing the book, because I wanted young people out there to know, you can make it. The book was from poverty to prominence. And again, it was just a lot of stories and a lot of things that came from my childhood and growing up and some adversity that I went through. So yeah, my mother's my greatest mentor. I've had other mentors along the way. Former principal of Okemos High School, Christine Cermak, was outstanding in helping me transition to an athletic director and just really working with me from an administrator standpoint. I had some great coaches coming up. My college football coach, Jeff Pierce, was a great mentor of mine. I had other coaches as well that were mentors. But and then when you get into the professional world, you have different mentors or people that help you. Several mentors at the collegiate level. Jim Phillips, who's the commissioner of the ACC. Has been a great mentor over the years. Ward Manuel, the athletic director in Michigan, has been a mentor of mine over the years. Dr. Renee Miles, who's the senior associate AD at the University of Miami, is a mentor. So I have several mentors in the college level as well. Just being able to lean on these people and these individuals through tough times, through good times, it's always a plus.
Ira's being very modest. The book he wrote, Beating the Odds from Poverty to Prominence, it's available on Amazon. I encourage you to check it out. Okay. Ira, we've already mentioned that you have done a great job at Gulliver, but you also have really made an impact on a national level. You're a member of NIAAA committees, and you also started a national network for athletic directors. Tell our listeners a little bit about how that came into being and how they can get involved.
Yeah, the National AD Resource Network. Amanda Waters, who's an athletic director in Georgia, she and myself started this during the pandemic, like right in the beginning of the pandemic, 19 or 18 months, however long it's been ago. It really took off, and basically we wanted to give athletic directors at that time a roadmap to how to navigate through the pandemic. And we brought lots of guests on. We had lots of people talking and brought ADs together and really gave them some insight and some things that they didn't have at that time. And I know you were on there several times. We had some really good dialogue on that. And we still do it. We don't do it as frequently as we used to, but we do it once a month now. And it's still effective. And it's a way to really virtually, through Zoom, bring athletics directors from around the country together. And so they can really give feedback, perspective, share how things are going in their area. And all of those things are very, very helpful.
No, absolutely. I think it was something that was extremely timely. And as you said, it gave athletic directors who had been literally, shut in their office or shut at home, an opportunity to meet with like-minded individuals, share some ideas, some best practices. And I think it's really become, one of the, key components of a professional development program. So kudos to you and Amanda for putting that together.
Yeah, no, thank you. And one of the things, we had some really cool, neat, special guests on there too. We had Notre Dame head football coach Brian Kelly was on there, former Heisman Trophy, the Super Bowl MVP, Desmond Howard, ESPN College Game Days. Desmond Howard was on there. We had several prominent coaches. We had Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC. He was a then athletic director of Northwestern, on there. We had several. Texas A&M, Ross Bork, athletic director, was on there. We had so many really, really good guests on there too, which made it really, really neat. Lisa Langston was on there as well. It was really, really strong from a guest standpoint too. And I think anytime you can have those type of guests, that really, really gives people some insight, saying, hey, you know what? It's great to hear what other ADs have to say. It's great to hear what Ira and Amanda has to say, but it's also great to hear what people around the country have to say on some of these athletic administrator topics.
Well, absolutely. And as you said, I try to tune in every single month to your programs, and I'm gonna have to talk to your booking coordinator, see if I can get some of those big name guests on besides you on our podcast. Okay. Ira, we have a lot of younger ADs, even younger than you, that listen to the podcast. And I think it's important for them to hear about the journey that you and I have taken with our national organization. So talk a little bit about that. How did you become aware of NIAAA, and talk about the path that led to your becoming a CAA?
Yeah, I came NIAAA way back. I went to a convention in Anaheim, Anaheim, California, and I remember going out and being a part of it, and you taking the classes, and you said, "Boy, this is nice. This is neat." And just getting a chance to meet athletic directors from around the country and really network And it just really struck a chord with me, and it was something that was really positive and national. And once you start learning, like, hey, you know what, the ADs in Seattle or in Los Angeles have some of the same concerns or some of the same things that I'm dealing with, back then it was in Michigan, so that really kind of stuck with me. And NIAAA has done such a great job, and just knowing a lot of people on that board, and knowing a lot of people at the National Federation. When I worked at the NCAA, literally my office is right across the hall from the National High School Federation office. You know what I mean? So I'll go right across there and talk to a lot of those individuals, some of them who are still friends today. So just really getting involved nationally. I think my experience at the NCAA taught me that, hey, if you're working in athletic administration, you should get involved nationally. You should be able to make an impact not only in your state but nationwide, and really just being a part of a national organization is really important. And also some great things have spawned from NIAAA, including Nomad, which was developed independently of NIAAA, but we do a lot of things in conjunction with them. And I want to give credit for the founders of Nomad, who really got it going, and got it to where Anthony and those guys who really got it going and got it where it is today. Kevin, who's done a nice job as well. So that organization is really strong, and I know there's a partnership there. I'm also on the National Diversity Board for NIAAA, and that just got started this past year. So there's a lot to be involved with, and there's a lot to be excited about. So for me, that's a long preamble saying I'm happy to be a part of it. It's a great organization.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you gave Tony Fisher and Nomad a shout out there. As you know, Tony spent a number of years down here in Florida with us, and it's great to see him, taking his program in Minneapolis as well as nationally, and doing some great things with that. We are visiting with Ira Childress, Certified Athletic Administrator, Athletic Director at Gulliver Prep, and also the co-founder of the National AD Resource Network with Amanda Waters. We're going to be back with more, but we need to take another break and hear from one of our podcast sponsors. We also want to thank Wall of Fame and Vital Signs for helping sponsor the podcast. Wall of Fame by Vital Signs has a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. We provide a variety of interactive touchscreen options and an extensive library of templates to make it easier than ever to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. For ideas on how to showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, visit www.vitalsignswalloffame.com. Or to learn more and get started with your own digital Wall of Fame tribute, call them at 614-981-3589, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We're back with Ira Childress, Gulliver Prep. Coach, I'm going to put you on the spot here. We always like to ask our athletic directors about their own program. So what are a couple of things at Gulliver that when you sit back and look at them with equal parts humility and pride, you can say, boy, we do this better than anybody? What are some best practices that you have at Gulliver Prep you can share with us?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that when you look at some athletic programs and they're strong in one sport or another sport, maybe a couple sports, but we're really strong across the board. If you look at all of our sports, and we've been that way for a long time, really strong across the board. We were, fortunate to be named the best athletic program for class 4A and under in South Florida by Miami Herald back-to-back years here. And I give credit to our student athletes and coaches, because that to win an award like that, you need to be really strong in several different sports, and that's what that's what we hang our hat on. The other thing that I'm really proud about, we had a 3.5 GPA for all of our sports. The academic component is something we really put an emphasis on, and we really promote that because we want the true essence of student athlete. And that's something that, again, here at Gulliver, we take a lot of pride in. Something else that I'm really proud in is we focus on, we have a real strong component for the recruiting process. We want to help student athletes get to the next level. We have somebody who works as a director of college athletic recruiting, who really focuses on that and helps our student athletes throughout that recruiting process. We do a recruiting summit that with college coaches that are involved to help educate our parents and student athletes on that. And that's something we really take a lot of pride in, at Gulliver, as far as really helping our student athletes get to that next level if they're interested in competing in college athletics, which we know a lot of student athletes at a college prep school like Gulliver are. So those are some of the things that we take pride in. But our coaches do an amazing job. We have a strong coaching staff, and our student athletes obviously are outstanding. But and overall, I would say that the final thing would be school spirit. Our school spirit is very, very strong. If you come to our games, the student athletes are involved. Our Blue Zoo, which is our student section, is really engaged and really involved. And the games are festive, and they feel like the place to be, as kids say. And that's what you want. You want to create an environment at your school that's really going to, exhibit the school spirit and just the fabric of your institution, when people come out and see the competitions. And that's what we try to do here at Gulliver Prep.
Again, I could certainly attest to that from my years down there in South Florida, competing against Gulliver teams. Let's do a little deeper dive on one of those components. You mentioned school spirit, and I think that's, one of the challenges for athletic directors these days. So often parents will say, oh, there's not school spirit like when I was in school. And, when they were in school, there weren't as many teams, kids weren't being pulled in so many different directions. So it's a different environment. But what's a couple of things you could share real quickly with our listeners, things that you've done to help promote school spirit at Gulliver?
Yeah, we have a student athlete advisory leadership council, I should say, student athlete leadership council, and that council really focuses on school spirit and, among other things, community service and student athlete welfare and a lot of other things. But really, school spirit is a big focus. And we also have the Blue Zoo, which we created a student section of Blue Zoo, and we have leaders of that, and they really hone in on saying, hey, what are we going to do for not just football and basketball, but for other sports as well. And we have different themes at the game. One day maybe a white out, the next day maybe a navy out, and then we have at halftime, our student activities office do a great job putting on a halftime show. So we have that. We also have a DJ. We have a DJ where a DJ takes requests from the students of which songs they want to hear. And then we also have a pep band as well, who when the DJ is not playing, the pep band's playing. So we really do a focus on school spirit. And it's something that we're honed in on to really make it an amazing atmosphere, because to me, that's part of the overall student athlete experience. When students and student athletes leave Gulliver, you want them talking about the memories they had at that great Friday night football game, or at that great Thursday night basketball game, or at that Tuesday volleyball match where the gym was rocking. You want that. That's important. For football, we've done Midnight Madness, where we've had events at midnight to kick it off. For basketball, we do what we call Raider Madness. It's not at midnight, but it's like a practice, but like an hour and a half pep assembly with both boys and girls teams and scrimmages and games and all of those things. So those things really help school spirit and people really get involved and engaged. One last thing, a year ago, we had a big swim meet. And the goal for that swimming was to have the largest crowd ever. So we sold it out. We had a bunch of students there. But besides our great swimmers, one of the hooks was we rented an ice cream stand, and we had the local ice cream shop come out. And anybody who came, and it was 90 degrees that day, they got a free ice cream cone. And you wouldn't believe that brought a lot of students out. So just being creative and doing different things to make it cool, make it fun, and make it a place to be for your students that want to be engaged and want to be a part of the athletic experience if they're not playing in the game.
Really, some cool ideas, and you hit it on the head there. Just being creative and trying different things, and as you said, involving the students and the student leadership committee. Great stuff. We're visiting with Ira Childress, Gulliver Prep Athletic Director. We're going to be back, but first let's hear from Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, who are the sponsors of our AD Toolbox segment. More coming up. All right, we're back with Ira Childress from Gulliver Prep. Ira, ever since we started these podcasts, and as I shared with you, we're on about month 15 now, we've been asking athletic directors some tougher questions. And this one kind of came out of our experience a few months ago at the Olympics, and Simone Biles being very candid about some of the challenges that she experienced. So my question is this: how can an athletic director or a coach find a balance between, say, an old school, hey, you got to be tough, you got to get back in there approach, while also being aware of and sensitive to the very real challenges that a Generation Z kid is experiencing? Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, I don't think old school works, and I don't think we should be practicing old school. I think there's a great saying: when you know better, you do better. And now we know that the old get back in there. That doesn't work, and we shouldn't be focused on that. If there's a mental health issue for our student athletes, or we need to really connect with them with professionals and really try to help them understand, that we care about them as people first, and athletes and everything else second. But we care about our student athletes as people first. So our job is as athletic administrators to really, if we're aware of something or being made aware, or even thinking there may be an issue, along mental health lines, we need to connect them with professionals on our campus. And if we don't have professionals on our campus, we need to find professionals outside of the campus and really get those student athletes connected with them. It was really sad to read about all the Simone Biles things, and that's something that you don't want to see. And you don't want to hear anybody saying tough it out. You want to hear people saying, hey, how can we help this student athlete that's struggling?
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate you sharing that perspective. We were so excited to talk to Ira that we didn't do the commercial. So we're going to take a very quick commercial for Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, and then we're going to come back and hear Ira's tool suggestions for the Athletic Director Toolbox. Please stay with us. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director's Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your athletic program. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also gives you access to the 95% of the players and parents who really love your program, and helps demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466, or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Let them help you take your program from good to great. All right, we're back with Ira Childress, Gulliver Prep's athletic director. Ira, we've already established, you're very experienced, very successful AD. You do a great job with your programs. But right now, I'm going to ask you to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. What 3 items are going to go in Ira Childress's athletic director toolbox?
One is you have to have a good process. If you have a really good process, that will save you a lot of trouble on the back end. And, people may question your decision, which is fine, whether it's hiring a coach or whether you're doing certain programs a certain way, but they should never be able to question the process, and that's something I would tell all new ADs or young administrators. Number 2 is be an effective communicator, both written and verbally. I mean, a lot of times, we're on the fly, we're on the move, so you got to be able to communicate quickly, but you need to be effective and let all parties know what's going on and really, lock in on the written communication too, because when you send things out, people should be able to read it, understand it, and comprehend it pretty quickly. So that, I think that's important, effective communication. And also, in leadership, we must have thick skin. And that sounds like a simple one, but you will be criticized, you will be questioned sometimes, and you can't let that sway you in the decisions that you make. You have to make your decisions and stick with them, and sometimes they're not going to work, and sometimes they are going to work. But you can't let a parent or others or anyone really kind of affect your decision. You were hired for this role for a reason, and you have to really stick to your guns on decisions. That doesn't mean you can't have people who give you information to inform your decisions, or doesn't mean you have to always go with everything that you think and not your staff. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you have to believe in your decision and believe in yourself, and not let any type of criticism or any type of blowback really affect your decision making.
Yeah, it's really, really good advice. Especially that last one. You got to develop that thick skin. Ira, if one of our listeners wants to reach out, and I would encourage you to do so, but if they want to reach out and pick your brain a little bit, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm all over social media, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, but you can also reach me via email, ichildress@gulliverprep.org, ichildress@gulliverprep.org, or childress.ira@gmail is my personal one, childress.ira@gmail. So those are two ways you can reach out to me if you have any questions or if I can help you with anything.
Okay. Again, appreciate you being on the podcast today, and all the best to you as we continue with this fall season. Thank
you. Same to you.
For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of these interviews are also being uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Thanks for listening today. Come back again next time for another episode of the Educational AD.